Okay, so this is our AMI in the AMI section, and if we create a launch instance, so we can launch instance. So for testing, I'll take um, X large, then next, then configuration details are there. I'll just select the protect again accidental termination. Then we can select the storage space. We can increase this storage space, and I'm not increasing it. uh, then we add the tag. We can give the name of the instance like this. The instance name will be um, yeah. So now at the time of creating the instance, you have to actually add the rules, like we have already mentioned that 8080 and something like that. And you have to add those here, or otherwise you can create a security group which is already pre-populated with this information, like this one. In the security group, I have already configured all the information. I have just select the security existing security group. Now we can just launch it, and we can check whether they are. These are the warnings, like it's not free for timing, and you can see that these are the security groups, and we have already added the port. So we can now launch the instance. And if you want to do SSH, then create a new key pair if you don't have a key pair. And if you have if you then it will be created the new key pair, but I'll having the key pair to do SSH. I'm launching the instance. So now this instance is appear in the instance tab of EC2, and now it's coming up. It's in the pending state. Let me just go to the. So now we have actually launched this instance. If you want to launch it, then just select this and just connect, you can say. So instance is now running. So let me connect the SSH. So I'm already have the key downloaded on my machine. And yeah, so let me do SSH of BTR key Ubuntu. And you have to actually take the IP address or public ASN to connect. Yeah, so now I'm connected to the my server. So if you do ls-la, then you can find certain files and directories. So there are three scripts. One is initial script, second is start script, and stop scripts. So once you log in for the first time in the server, you actually have to run the initial script. Then from henceforward, you just have to run start or stop scripts to run the application. So let me run the initial script. Initial script is having required one parameter, that is the IP address. So I'm providing the IP address. So it will ask certain questions like we just have to do enter, and if they ask yes, then we can just do yes, enter, enter, yes. Yeah, now it's done. So let me do the JPS command. So nothing is running. And to start the VDR application again, I have to run this script. Yeah, so just it will show from the information, and for the first time it will ask you for uh, to add the localhost and all that. So you just say yes, and again say yes, and output of the application will be logged in the nohub.out file. Once it will shows all things are started, then we go to the browser. Yeah, now it says that the BDR application is started successfully. So now just go to the browser and use the IP address and check the all sorts of application like BD Hadoop, and it says that one live node and there is no error. Then we can go to drill and just check the storage space. Everything is configured. We can check HBase also. HBase is also not having any issue. Then in the last we can go to the BDR application 8080. Yeah, it will ask for the license screen, but I've already provided the license screen. So let me just log into it using the credential Hadoop, and password is revealed, and just log in into it. Then you can go to the control panel and see the server settings. For AWS, you just have to enable it and configure the access key, secret key, endpoints and bucket, and just say save. Then the S3 bucket will be appear. Yeah, so we can see the S3 file system and we can run any kind of job like the HDFS. HDFS we have sample files. We can view those sample files by just clicking it.
Please go to the AMI notes, and the Big Data Revealed application key for each month will be located there for you. Basic viewing of discovery of patterns and encryption of complete file and of just a column. As we view the file and file content, we see that none of the data values are encrypted. Now with the use of the executive summary we can scroll through suspected violations of exposed data not meeting the requirements of the EU GDPR. Big Data Revealed also keeps and stores historical runs for viewing and comparisons that also aid in finding when exposed personal information is put into EU data assets. We start by selecting to view suspected social security numbers. As we navigate to the data and patterns, we can visualize that they are positive for social security. We can drive one level deeper to the actual system source of record, on this case to the HDFS actual record, and see the surrounding data also and substantiate this as data that would be with social security number. Here we can read other users' metadata and notes and add our own notes about social security and our actions. Next, we are going to encrypt the entire file. Before doing so, we will put a copy of the file in a safe encrypted zone for auditing and other legal regulatory reasons. The user must have the credentials for the encrypted zone in order to safe keep files in there. After we make the copy, we will verify it was successfully copied into the encrypted zone. Here we will select to encrypt the entire file. By doing so, we know we have already secured the original file in an encrypted zone and will now encrypt the entire file until the proper data stewards or stakeholders decide on the individual columns needed to be encrypted to be GDPR compliant, for we know at a minimum the social security code needs to be encrypted. We saw the data was not encrypted and we can see the complete data is now encrypted. By simply selecting Decrypt tab, selecting the file run and the column or columns to be decrypted, and select run and those columns will be decrypted. Now we will do the same, though only encrypt the social security column by itself. Again, we can encrypt just one column or as many columns as desired, or the entire file. Here we can see that only the social security column has been encrypted and no other columns have been. Admin user section. Here the user stores his personal information like email, phone number and other information. Next, Big Data Revealed has its own lineage. It stores logs of most everything that is run, who ran it, when it was run, type of job that was run, such as encryption, decryption, and so on. These logs are viewable and can also be downloaded. Next are watches. These are set by the user to be notified via text or emails, or even Twitter when outliers occur, which could determine machine parts are about to or are now failing, or fraudulent financial transactions may have occurred. Also, alerts can be generated when patterns within data are found, and these patterns were flagged by the user, as possibly being personally identifiable information. Lastly is a display of the Big Data Revealed license information. Administrator settings. Here we find some of the core nucleus of Big Data Revealed. Manage users allows for the creation, modification, and deletion of Big Data Revealed users. Also allows the assigning of the user's roles. Manage roles simply allows the creation of user roles. Database configuration allows for detailed database configuration for databases to be read and loaded into memory and processed as mentioned in the Database Settings tab above. Here, we find the regular expressions engine. Here you will find the Big Data Revealed pre-built expressions and an interface that allows users to create their own shareable pattern discovery expressions. Patterns can be discovered individually, and groups can be created by users, and when jobs are run, the groups can be run and all the patterns and all the regular expressions in that group or groups will be executed against the data assets. A note: pattern searches and direct identifier searches share the same regular expressions engine, for they search for the same type of data patterns. Users can create, modify, and delete regular expressions, and logs will track these transactions. Control file. Here we have the control file. This is where we have things like the URLs for hadoop and other Apache and hadoop applications, port settings, and more. The email tab is for setting up email information for notifications of user watches. The database settings are the locations of database sources that we can read into hadoop and process directly from memory and store an intelligent catalog and metadata. The Twitter tab allows us to put the Twitter security to use Twitter as a means to notify users of watches. The Hadoop tab is for additional Hadoop configuration, and the Kerberos tab is for configuring Kerberos security on the Hadoop cluster. Notification is just a copy of what notifications went out to the users. The running of the Big Data Revealed jobs. Let's look at the interface to run jobs. The first job we will run is the data discovery job. This process produces the following Big Data Revealed files and intelligent catalog and metadata from the selected source folders and files. All unique data asset values with counts. All unique pattern values with counts. Calculates the mean and standard deviations from the mean for all numeric columns and their data values. Basic and detailed data profiling stats like counts of blanks, zeros, nulls, numeric, duplicates, domain and unique counts, and other data asset profiling stats. Let's look again at the interface to run jobs. This time we will run the quick classification job. This process produces the following Big Data Revealed files and intelligent catalog and metadata from the selected source folders and files. All columns that match each pattern selected along with the percentage of record for that column data that match each pattern selected that finds a match or matches. These results are added to the intelligent catalog and metadata and used by the users to name the columns appropriately. This process also gives a quick discovery of hidden potential personally identifiable information found amongst other data. For example, a column may be comprised of 10 million IP addresses and 6 phone numbers hidden amongst them. In this case, the user would see IP address XX% and phone XX%. Then the user can drill on the phone to verify if it is a false positive or a real occurrence that needs to be remedied. The Big Data Revealed graphical interface has an easy-to-use navigation and allows the viewing of the results as well as the ability and viewing of the data down to the system source of record, which is the actual HDFS or S3 or H-base column data. There are a few means and menus that allow navigation to all these viewing and drilling capabilities. Let's look again at the interface to run jobs. This time we will run the pattern discovery job. This process produces the following big data revealed files and intelligent catalog and metadata from the selected source folders and files. All columns that match each pattern selected for that column, data that match each pattern selected that finds a match or matches. These results are added to the intelligent catalog and metadata and used by the users to name the columns appropriately. The power of the pattern discovery is its ability to invoke the ability after verification the pattern match is not a false positive to click a simple sequester button and then select one or more columns and click Run. This will then encrypt all the data values in the selected columns, write the file back and delete the file that had the personally identifiable information exposed. The user will have the option to select a checkbox that will make a copy of the originating file with the personally identifiable information and insert it into a safe encrypted zone. This will be necessary at times to meet government or industry compliance on the storing of information for certain periods of time or for legal reasons or other reason. This process also gives a quick discovery of hidden potential personally identifiable information found amongst other data. For example, a column may be comprised of 10 million IP addresses and 6 phone numbers hidden amongst them. In this case, the user would see IP address XX% and phone XX%. Then the user can drill on the phone to verify if it is a false positive or a real occurrence that needs to be remedied. The Big Data Revealed graphical interface has an easy-to-use navigation and allows the viewing of the results as well as the ability and viewing of the data down to the system source of record, which is the actual HDFS or S3 or H-base column data. There are a few means and menus that allow navigation to all these viewing and drilling capabilities. Data Discovery Viewing. As we view some of the basic data discovery profiling stats at the file level, we can see such information as minimum, maximum value and minimum and maximum lengths, as well as duplicate counts, the mean and other statistical files information. We select what appears to be an IP address value column and drill down to the system source of record in HDFS and can validate with human eyes that it is a positive for an IP address. It is easier to determine false positives when seeing the complete record versus just one column value. Next, we select a numeric column and select the outlier button on top and can view the file mean and then see the mean and standard deviation for each column's unique value in respect to the column's mean. The user can set the low and high range that they want to see to determine if financial fraud may be occurring or machine parts may be wearing out. By drilling to the system source of record, the user can also see the part associated with this outlier. We also have a graphical representation of the basic discovery profile stats that can be drilled into and have a secondary means to view and drill into the outlier discovery. Here, using the executive summary screen, we will go straight to the business classification created by the quick classification job and look at the pattern discovered for IP address. Here we can see that over 80% are said to be IP addresses. As we scroll through a lot of the data, then even drill into some of the data, we see that they appear to be valid IP addresses, especially when seen in the context of the surrounding data elements. As we view the results of a column business classification job, we can see the column ID or name, and if the user desires can use the Big Data Revealed intelligent catalog metadata and name or change names of columns, file path information, type of pattern or patterns found in that column, the percentage of data in that column that matches each specific pattern found, along with how many rows and the total number of rows in the file. In one column we found Social Security to be less than 3% and in another greater than 80%. Let's first look at the column with over 80% likelihood of being Social Security numbers. As we scroll through, they sure look like Social Security numbers. Let's take a closer look and drill into the system source of record and verify by looking at surrounding data and formats. They sure look to be Social Security to me. So now let's go take a quick look at what seems to be email address. It seems so obvious to us that it is email address, we don't need to take the time to drill and we can move on to our next assignment. Column naming can be done from a few different points within the Big Data Revealed application. We have selected the column classification section. Here you can see what options we gave in the drop-down window based on our pattern results that the user may select. The user may also view some samples of the data and then may override the column name to their preference of a new column name. Using the display jobs, pattern discovery, we will review the results of the pattern discovery job that identifies personally identifiable information for GDPR or most any regulatory compliance. We can view in the Discovery Pattern column by clicking on the Click to View button below what patterns we ran the discovery for. By clicking on the hand to open that job, we will see the columns and the patterns that were found for each column, though unlike the quick column classification we will not see percentages. The major difference between the two jobs is the Pattern Discover allows you to sequester/quarantine files and encrypt columns, whereas the column classification does not. After reviewing the results, if you desire to drill into the data assets, you will need to select a data discovery run to work results to work with. This allows the users to select the data assets from a point in time, both historical or as close to zero latency. The user can also opt to run a more current data discovery if they desire. However, anytime the user drills to the system source of record, they will be viewing the actual real-time HDFS record. The history is also used to see trends when there are more or less data asset exposures to assist in the investigations of why and where that data may be coming from. Here you can quickly see this is another vantage point to assign column names and metadata to your files. Here we see we have social security numbers where we also have IP addresses, so we decide to investigate deeper. As we look at the data and the patterns, we see limited social security and mostly IP addresses. Let's use the search capability of Big Data Revealed to see how many hidden social securities there may be in this IP address column. We can search for a perfect social security pattern or even a partial. Let's use a partial. As we can see, we have a dozen or so social security numbers that will need to be removed and a few that are neither an IP address or a social security number and may need further investigation. Intrafile, indirect identifier. Here we will run against a single file versus the cross-file indirect identifiers that run against many files, both looking for two or more indirect column values such as email, gender, birth date, or one or many other data asset types. If found, this may be a GDPR violation and one or more of the columns or column row combination may need to be encrypted, or in the case of legal PDF files they may need to be sequestered, quarantined. Here we can see what rows of this file Big Data Revealed has found both IP address and email. There are so many rows found, this is an obvious major issue and need to be remedied ASAP. Indirect identifier, cross-file two-step process. This process is run in 2 steps and you will soon realize why it has to be done this way in order to be accurate. Also, all the company's disparate data must all, including structured, semi-structured and unstructured data assets including PDF and Office documents, must be residing in one centralized repository, which we recommend to be AWS S3, Apache Hadoop or HBase. First, the user select the direct identifier or identifiers to be used as keys to see what files across the enterprise are able to be joined. The user also at this time can change the input files delimiters if necessary for proper results. Then the user runs step 1. Now let's view the files that have found relations cross these files by the actual data asset values in each column. These are the files that will now be used to search for the indirect identifiers selected at the time of the run. The user can select individual indirect or group indirect regular expressions to run against the list of cross files. Now let's view the results and see that we can view the results in many different ways with the drop-down menu. From the results we can select individual data asset unique values to encrypt the data assets at the column row level. We can also mass encrypt all the rows and columns with one run command. Now the user can select the consolidator button and copy a file into a secure encrypted zone with the originating data, or quarantine a PDF file as example, and then go ahead and encrypt specific values by row and column for both indirect identifiers and for the right of erasure, or known as right to be forgotten. These processes are reversible with proper credentials and customer permissions, or possible with court orders. Soon as in by early to mid-January of 2018 we plan to deliver the capability to use the same encryption key across all files for each unique value, so the analytics will be minimally affected for data scientists and other analytics and marketing experts. This is called BDR, Unique Domain Deterministic Encryption. Reach Big Data Revealed to facilitate protecting your customers' valued and confidential data at privacyinfo@bigdatarevealed.com or 847-440-4439. Again. Reach Big Data Revealed to facilitate protecting your customers' valued and confidential data at privacyinfo@bigdatarevealed.com or 847-440-4439. Again. By the citizen entering the mandatory data assets, Big Data Revealed generates a unique key. No key will ever be given to more than one citizen. This unique key identifier for that citizen now and moving forward to more securely and within the GDPR regulations express their demands on the consent or non-consent of the use of their personal data. After the secure encrypted key is created, all the data entered by the citizen will then be encrypted and only decrypted internally within Big Data Revealed to accomplish searches of companies' consent documents and correspondence and notes. Here the citizen is checking data assets needed in order to secure purchases from this company. Again, only the data assets checked by the citizen are construed as giving consent to this company. The citizen has also sent the company a note explaining their reasons for allowing consent to these data elements. Big Data Revealed has built a two-way many-to-many means of communications for citizens and companies to have continual dialogue on the consent, from authorizing consent to revoking consent, and the ability to discuss and clarify and questions of the meanings of the communications. The citizen can also upload documents with electronic signatures, PDF files, Office documents, MP3 or MP4 audio or voice files, and almost any file type describing to companies their wishes and or demands when dealing with their rights of consent. Companies can and should be encouraged to upload consent documents so that citizens can search this company repository, one company or the world's companies, to find and verify or accept or revoke consent of these documents. Big Data Revealed has built an automated secure means by taking the encrypted personal data of the citizen column at a time and searching and decrypting the metadata that companies have supplied about the consent documents, allowing connections between the citizen and company's data without allowing peers, enemies, hackers or others a means to just type information they already have on a citizen and gather that citizen's personal data. Now the citizen can look through the company's metadata and file name and decide what files, if any, they want to download, by clicking on the sync button, and look deeper into the document, and also can, before or after downloading, send the company a message about the document that has personal data that may or may not pertain to them. The company, as we will show shortly, can then respond back and forth with the citizen and the citizen back and forth with the company. The citizen maintains control of the granted consent and revoked consent corresponded in notes or documents and can change this attribute with a simple toggle switch at any time. Now let's look at an already created company consent with its unique consent ID. As with the creation of a citizen unique consent ID, the company is for the most part created the same, though a few of the mandatory fields obviously differ. Also, as with citizens, all companies will have a unique company consent ID assigned to only them. As stated earlier, we are now showing a company viewing any awaiting notes or correspondence and then able to write back to the citizen if it is called for clarification and or confirmation or requesting additional information. Big Data Revealed will keep and maintain all correspondence over time, as this information may be needed to resolve discrepancies or even needed for legal proceedings and validation for the regulatory agencies. Now the citizen can look for any new correspondence from companies, download the correspondence, read it and respond appropriately or not at all. The citizen, just as the company did, will know messages are waiting if the unread notes count is greater than 0. The citizen will then sync to download the communications and then click on the Add Description to open the company's correspondence. The unopened correspondence, just as with emails services you are used to, will be highlighted until they are read. The citizen could at this point write back to the company. Citizens and companies are able to view what documents have been downloaded, though no correspondence has been communicated by the citizen that downloaded the specific document, nor are they obligated to. This concludes Big Data Revealed's short video of its EU GDPR consent application that complements the Big Data Revealed EU GDPR data compliance, remediation, encryption, catalog, and metadata, quarantine and sequester application for meeting the regulatory requirements of GDPR. Big Data Revealed is available as an AMI, Amazon Machine Image, for Amazon's AWS S3 Cloud Platform and the AWS Cloud Hadoop platform, as well as any Apache Hadoop or any vendor's Hadoop environments and platforms. Big Data Revealed is entertaining any major software vendors, service providers, auditing firms or governmental agencies that would like to entertain Big Data Revealed's consent application as the core worldwide repository and technical application to manage the consent process and regulatory requirement of the EU GDPR. You are viewing Outlook PST files already processed by Big Data Revealed. We wish to create a new folder to accept additional Outlook files for processing. We have chosen to create an empty folder named New Emails and then to copy a PST file from your Outlook environment into the new folder. As you can see, no technical skills were needed. At this point we have already selected our PST file from folder New Emails and, as you can see, it is presented in the file path field on the screen. Big Data Revealed easily searches a PST file for data patterns, known as regular expressions, and for specific search words. We are now selecting the regular expressions you wish to discover in the PST file. And now we are entering any number of search words to be discovered in the Outlook file. Each search word needs to be comma delimited. As Big Data Revealed processes the file, its status is shown on this screen. The search words, regular expression, and status of the job is displayed. When Big Data Revealed has completed processing all the individual emails contained in the PST file, you will be able to view a summary of what was discovered by clicking on the Action button. The application tells us how many occurrences of each regular expression and each search word were found in the entire PST file. The next step, of course, is to view the emails containing the discovered values. This screen displays each individual email that contained any search word or regular expression that was requested in the discovery process. Then by clicking on the Action button you will see the actual contents of the email. As an analyst reviews Big Data Revealed's results, they may choose to focus on just a single search word or regular expression value. To accomplish this, the analyst simply types in the search word value and the list will rebuild showing only the emails containing that search word. The body of the email appears for you to view. As you can see, the reason this email was selected was because it contained the search word Hadoop and also the search word Spark. The user also has the ability to print or create a PDF file of any email. As we can see, the PDF is an exact copy of the email selected to print or be created as a PDF file. Next, we are demonstrating that as with the complete Big Data Revealed application is scalable for large volumes of emails and or data and utilizes back-end server pagination, so the user can see their results quickly and also page through the volumes of emails quickly with very little lag times. Just a quick reminder, Big Data Revealed is a complete 360-degree solution for the EU GDPR and available on Amazon's AWS S3 Cloud and Apache Hadoop and all flavors of Big Data Hadoop. Big Data Revealed is priced not only for the Fortune companies to get GDPR protection, it is priced down to the one-person company. Don't ignore your responsibilities or potential source of liabilities. Big Data Revealed is your solution for personal data discovery, remediation, encryption, GDPR consent, right of erasure, and now a solution to discover personal data and meaning in those forgotten emails. Emails not only contain personal data but are a major source of evidence for both plaintiffs and defendants engaged in court activities, not to mention the needs of the medical and pharmaceutical and other vertical markets.